host, Dr. Douglas James Cottrell. We are journeying together through the deeper meanings behind today's world events, ancient wisdom, and the quiet whispers of the divine. We're going to reflect, remember, and reconnect. If this is your first time with us, welcome to the family. Make sure to follow us and ring that bell, check those checks, and click on that link to subscribe wherever you're watching and listening from wherever you are in the world. This show isn't just a broadcast. It's a broadcast with intention, with spirit, and with love. Now, here is Douglas.
Wonderful to be with you, my friends. It's great to have you here on the show tonight. Hey, have you ever given any thought about maybe you've lived before? You know, I'm talking in a previous experience. Have you ever met people that you just knew right from the get-go? Have you ever wondered about some of your friends when you meet them? Hey, I've seen you and know you before, and yet you've never met. You know, investigating your own past is something that's very, very important. It's part of your spiritual progress. It's part of the spiritual path you're on. And if you care to look back at yourself, you know, you can find out where you can improve yourself in the future. But the fascinating subject tonight is past life relationships, soul friends, and soul mates, and how they show up in our current lives. So you want to ask a question? You want me to maybe give you an intuitive impression about perhaps where in the world you've lived before and when? Well, drop us an email here in the Soul Report Live at gmail.com and we'll see what we can do. Oz is behind the curtain tonight. We're going to engage in a little conversation. We're in segment 2. We're going to talk about that remarkable space story. You know, that one that it's the biggest stellar secret, you know, about that, what's it called? 3I Atlas. It's on our way. Or is it I3 Atlas? I have my dyslexia. So anyway, chime in with that. Have you got some news? Have anybody been out there? Have you been looking at those pictures from Mars? Apparently Mars is taking space pictures as it's flying by in our solar system. What's that all about? You know, let's talk about that a little bit and let's keep up on it. And finally tonight, the analog will be, the monologue at the end of the show will be what it means to be a good friend and how your spiritual friendships will lead you to a closer and closer encounter with the divine. So here we are. Let's get ready and let's go. So here we go for tonight. It's past life relationships, soul friends, and soul mates. As I said off the top, tonight we'll open the question. How many of us look around and feel drawn to someone not just by chance, but by history? Have you ever thought of that? In a field of past lives and soul memory, many teachers talk about soul friends and soul mates being with us and whom we have shared more than in this lifetime. It's a fascinating subject, a fascinating topic. And I want you to exchange your ideas and thoughts, engage with me tonight. Are these souls that travel with us? Do they travel from lifetime to lifetime? Do we come as a family or a tribe or a group? What about those people that, haven't been so nice to us in previous lifetimes? Do we meet up with them again? Well, let me talk a little bit about that. And again, you're welcome to chime in on the chat and or send us an email at the Soul Report live at gmail.com. So first of all, I know that there are many people out there who maybe have not, investigated whether you've lived before. Sometimes people's spiritual beliefs or religious beliefs don't encounter past life relationships. Well, here's my take on that. If you believe in a soul, and a soul lives forever, it's immortal, and the soul enters into the world and into your body, it chooses to do so. It has free will and free choice. It's not a random or forced thing. It's something that allows you as a soul to experience here in the world. And the meaning of life, by the way, is a question I get asked all the time, is what is the purpose? What's the meaning of life? It is simply this: experiencing physical life. It's really hard to be here. We're tempted from every which way to sundown. We have struggles. We have compulsions. We have experiences. We have disappointment, but we also have great pleasures and achievements. Physical life and the meaning of physical life is to experience life. And that's the bottom line on why we're here. However, as it gets involved and as we come into the world more and more, we begin to wonder, what is the purpose of life? Are we just born? We have, a physical life, and then, like everybody else, we work for 40 years and maybe go through some retirement for a couple of decades, and then we pass away. Maybe we have a family. What's the purpose of life? Why do we do this? Why is there an endless sort of, on the hamster wheel going around and around, as our friends in the East would say, the wheel of incarnation or reincarnation? Well, it comes down to the purpose of life and how you have entered into the world in previous times and have progressed or not. And as we understand this progression, this spiritual encounter of being able to progress yourself forward in spiritual illumination, some people call that dharma or karma, or the contemplation of life, the lessons of life. We have the tree of knowledge of good and evil. We have the tree of life. We have remembrances. We have the grand library in the cosmos. All these, the terms I've just said, all these places relate to your spiritual purpose, development, and pathway. I know what I've just said might sound like a mouthful to the people who are on initiative, but for those people who are on the path, I'm here tonight to help you. But again, I'm looking for you to call me on the chat or to send me an email so I can be more specific. In the field of past life and soul memory, there are many teachers who talk about these previous experiences, and certainly there have been many documented cases of children remembering who and where they were in their previous times. That is to say, their children now remembering back. And, I think it's up to 25,000 documented encounters or memories of this. We'll get Jack on the show and we'll talk a little bit more about that in detail. But for tonight, the start of the show is, is your soul friend another binary soul, someone that joins up with you and is willing to come into the world and experience the world with you or against you? Maybe you have friends, maybe you have people who are not so much your friends, and they come into the world, sort of a yin-yang, positive, negative, progression, regression, meeting up with those circumstances that you've experienced before or caused experience before. What if you do somebody harm in another time? Do you have to pay for it in this time? Is karma a method of debt and reward that you do something, you have to experience that same, let's say, difficulty yourself? Or can you avoid karma? Can you avoid those soul lessons if you learn or know about them without going through the same experience that you've caused? I'm talking about, let's say, you do something inappropriately, you maybe slap somebody and embarrass them publicly. Does that mean at some future time in this life or the next that that's going to happen to you? That you're going to be embarrassed and slapped in the face? Well, there are some folks out there that believe an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, and that is exactly what happens. I tend to believe that, in my experience as a counselor and investigating the metaphysical and the spiritual, that if you learn the lesson and you regret that what you've done in the past was an error or a mistake, then you have the opportunity to wipe out that karmic debt. The saying goes, regret wipes out the debt. And as such, when you learn that what you've done was not nice, appropriate, or constructive, there's no need for you to go back and be punished. The lesson's already been learned. You perhaps are feeling embarrassed, or you're feeling, obligated to make amends. You regret sincerely what you've done. The lesson has been served. Whoever that other person was or that other circumstance was, that's taught you. It's given you a valuable lesson, how to behave and how not to make the same mistake again. So, looking at mistakes, what are mistakes? What are errors? Well, they're not punishment, they're not difficulties. They're basically the stepping stones to success. If you make a bunch of mistakes, sooner or later, you're going to be the wisest person in the world because you'll have made every mistake in the book once. And now all that's left is the wisdom and the achievement of the knowledge and experience you've received by making all those mistakes. So, a little word to the wise, it's okay to make mistakes, but don't beat up on yourself. And remember, it's a lesson in the making. And again, if you make every mistake in the book once, then the only thing left is perfection, achievement, and success. So, how do we apply that to today? How do we go into this understanding of our soul and what our soul is experiencing? You know, we don't like things to happen to us. We don't consider ourselves bad people. But do we do bad things or difficult things? Yes, we do. We all do. We all make mistakes. We're human. And whether they're a mistake by, let's say, what's the word? Make a mistake consciously or unconsciously or by commission, then, you got to learn the lesson as to what it's like to be on the other side of that coin. And as you begin to come to the understanding that you regret and you move forward, you learn, you improve, you become spiritually aware and enlightened, well, then you begin to see yourself in a new light. You begin to see yourself advancing. It's hard, but it's for the good. Because you can sit back and relax, you can be in a cave somewhere, and you will constantly be in a place of, let's say, static progression. You're not going anywhere, you're going sideways. Or, as my great grandfather used to say, if you're not going up, you're going down. If you're not progressing, you're regressing. So here we are at this point in time, tonight on tonight's show, and I'm asking you to chime in tonight and ask the question that, those hard questions you might want answers for. I'll give you the best answer I can. It'll be authoritative, it'll be correct, and it'll be deliberate and considerable. Something that you can possibly do. So tonight, again, in the chat, chime in or send us an email, and I'll try to do the best I can at perhaps answering a question of who you were in a previous lifetime. I always find it very interesting to see people, how they have had previous lifetimes and how those lifetimes relate to this one. For instance, someone who was a very arrogant swordsman back in France came back in this lifetime to be humbled and worked for a large airplane corporation. And he was constantly given really difficult jobs, but there was a little bit of arrogance in him and a little bit of resistance until he realized that what he was doing as a mechanic was very, very important. The whole airplane depended on his workmanship, which he allowed himself to take advantage of. One day it was a winter and it was very cold and the plane needed the brakes to be changed. And he signed it off and said, no, it's okay. They're going to Florida. He was somewhere in Boston, and he thought they'll fix it when they get down to Florida in the nice warm weather. Well, somebody pointed out to him, because they reported him back in Florida, that he had overlooked or had neglected to adjust or fix the plane's brakes, and he got called out on it. He got taken down a peg. He was embarrassed, and this arrogance from being a self-styled swordsman from a previous lifetime was met by not firing, but by him humiliated in front of everybody because of what he did. They all knew the plane needed the brakes to be changed. They all knew it was cold weather, and they all knew he signed it off and sent it down to Florida, where some other mechanic in a nice warm setting would change the brakes. But what if something had happened to the plane? What if it had iced up and the brakes didn't work? He didn't even think about that. He was thinking of himself in a very selfish way. I can tell you that he was humiliated, and then he began to regret, because it was pointed out to him, as I said, very serious bad things could happen. So he went on for the rest of the time, never ever signing off on items that were marginal. He made sure he did the best he possibly could do, no matter the weather. And I was very proud to hear him say that. And I can tell you that his personality changed after that humiliating experience. So, have you had such an experience? Have you been in a situation where you've seen a friend do something that's really not so nice, or some difficulty that's happened, and you want to know what to do about it? Should you correct them? Should you just walk away from them? What is your question? Oz, you have a question from the audience tonight?
Yeah, we got a few.
Okay.
How does reincarnation work for people who pass away before their time? A friend of mine died at 49, and I did not have a chance to say goodbye or help him. Will I get a second chance next lifetime?
Okay. Um, First thing, was it before their time? Sometimes people have short lifetimes and some people have long lifetimes. Usually, the rule of thumb is that unless it's an accident or something where a person loses their life suddenly and unexpectedly, usually they've come into the world for a short time and they have passed the test. They have accomplished what they were here to do. And even though it seems to be 49 years of age, maybe that's exactly what they needed to do to clean up, to improve, to polish what they were working on in their spiritual journey or lessons. Now, as you said, they were 49 and you didn't get a chance to say goodbye. I'm terribly sorry that you're grieving over your friend, as we always do, because being a friend, we love them, have affection for them, and we feel bad when they're not there. But remember, this was their experience and their life. I can see this person upstairs right now applauding like this, and I can see them very happy. They're a little white in the face, not ghostly white, but a little white in the face, but they are happy that you're asking this question. The person has progressed and made one more step up the ladder. So, was it their time to go? I believe so. And that's why we should always take time for our friends so we don't get into situations like this where, you know, oh yeah, I'll go see so and so. Yeah, yeah, he's not well. I'll go see him on the weekend. Oh no, I'll see him next week. And then all of a sudden they're gone. When you're drawn to take care of your friends, talk to your friends, call them up, you get a hunch, you get into some telepathic nudge or whatever, call them. Don't wait. And that helps you live in harmony so that you don't feel like you let them down or that you missed something or you didn't get a chance to say goodbye. And I'll tell you another thing, if they're out there listening to you, they will find their way back into your dream. When you have a nice, comfortable night, you're not thinking about them or desiring that they're there, you're in a neutral state of mind, they'll pop in. They will reveal themselves to you. Now, when they go on the other side, there's lots of work to do. The other side is just like this side. There's lots of things to do, lots of people they're engaged with. There's lessons. They have to review the lifetime they've just lived, go over the advances and the not so steps of advancement. So the pros and cons, the advancements and the retardation of their lives. But they're busy. They still will hear you. And if you pray a quiet prayer, how are you? How are you doing? Let me know. Drop into my dream. It's okay. I'd love to see you. That will happen. I can not guarantee because I'm not on the other side and I'm not in the mind of those people, but I can almost guarantee you, if I wasn't being so politically correct here, that these people will come back and see you. Guaranteed. Okay? Should they choose to do so. Should you be lucky enough that they'll reveal themselves to you. But they will, because when you're on the other side, you feel for your friends. It's no different. We feel love and affection, and we want to be with our friends. They want to as well, but they know that you have free will and free choice, and they can't interfere in your life. They can intervene, but they cannot interfere. That's why when they come back, they don't talk, is there's no real words on the other side, but they'll act out in pantomime. They'll smile. They'll give you a wave. They'll be doing something. that you know only they used to do that, and they'll make themselves known to you. Remember, they're in the eternal, so they have lots of time. Well, we're a little impatient. We want to see our friends. So were they taken early? I don't think so. Did they finish up a life lesson? More than likely. Will you see them again? Well, you will eventually when you make the transition from here to the post existence, but they will, because they were your friends, make every effort to come and comfort you. The rule is don't be eager, don't be demanding, don't be grieving, don't have any emotion other than try to be neutral about it all, and they'll show up. I almost guarantee it 100% because I've seen it over and over and over again. And so when they're ready, when they're, let's say, adjusted to their new environment, they'll show up more than once, and they might even have a message for you, or give you something, like numbers, whatever that would mean, lucky numbers. They'll give you some help because they love you. Make sense? Next
Yeah,
question.
yeah, we've got a lot of questions coming in from YouTube. This one's kind of about sleep. Um, this too shall pass says, I'm really good at sleeping compared to others who struggle with falling asleep and staying asleep. Can sleeping be a skill you learn in past lives, like a soldier learns how to sleep anywhere?
Hmm. Well, I'm not sure if a soldier learns to sleep anywhere. I've talked to people who have been in Vietnam, and they learned how to sleep with one eye open because they're on guard, right? So I'm not sure if a soldier gets a good night's sleep unless he's back in boot camp and he's tired out. For sure, he's going to get his full 8 hours. However, the idea about sleep and falling to sleep is that it's a compliment to yourself. You have a solid mind, you have a good mind. You're not allowing worry or fears, imagination, or other distracting thoughts take you away from that falling to sleep. When we go to sleep, we go through alpha, theta, delta. We go down into the deeper brain waves, and we enter into sleep, very deep sleep for a very short period of time. Some people can arrive at that deep brain waves very quickly, and they get a full night's sleep in a matter of hours, where the rest of us it might take 8 hours or more. So it's a mechanical process of being able to put yourself into a state of comfort, breathing slowly, exhaling very slowly, having your mind in a pleasant state, not thinking, not worrying, not attempting to figure things out or be apprehensive about tomorrow or the next day, or if you're procrastinating about getting things done. You see, it's a bit of a mindset. But also, when you do that, it's body chemistry. I talk a lot about chemistry and about how the chemistry of the body affects the hormones, and the hormones produce states of endomorphins, for instance, of a state of pleasure, relaxation, and or sleep. So is it possible for people to have a good state of mind and fall to sleep? Yes, because they don't have any disruptive influences on them. So sleep is a matter of, well, I guess it's a matter of being calm, but not just by choosing calm, but by having a strong mind, knowing that worry is like a debt you pay on a loan you never, it's payments on a debt you never incurred, I think is the way the cliche goes. So you can learn to meditate and to put yourself into an altered state of mind that will let you get by the monkey mind, the mind that's jumping all over with all these worries and random thoughts, and get into the elephant mind, which is that slow, probing, steady, strong mind, and you'll learn how to fall asleep. People tell me when my meditation CDs were out in the past that they were just fantastic to put them to sleep. I wasn't sure if that was a compliment or not, but meditation and the entry into the meditative mind stops the monkey mind from jumping all over the place and allows you to ease into a state of equilibrium, and thereby the body chemistry changes, the respiration changes, your heart slows down, and you fall into sleep naturally. Now, I want you to understand in meditation, I teach that when you get to that point of going to sleep, just before you fall asleep, and we all know what that is, you turn over, you move, you get in a position, and you know you're going to go to sleep. You know you're going to go to sleep. That's the place that you can hold and you can go into a deep meditative state. You can perceive things beyond yourself. In your state of mind, it's quantum meditation technique I'm talking about here, and you can hold on that threshold. And so you're half awake and half asleep. That's how you get to see the wonders in the different dimensions above. However, if you go past that threshold, you fall asleep. And you don't even know you did it because you're asleep. You didn't willfully cause it to happen, but you got to that threshold and you either fell asleep or you maintained a level of meditation. So people trying to achieve meditation say there's a tip on how to be at that threshold. And for the rest of us to know how to get to that threshold where you just feel you're about to sleep and you will enter into deep sleep. If that makes sense. Oz, next question.
Yeah, we have one from the Eventide. I never really cared about past lives, to be honest, Reverend. I didn't think it was important, but I do now. I wish I knew before.
Well, I'm going to answer that one and agree with you on both sides of that question. Past lives are not really important because they're past. Who cares whether you were a carpenter, a soldier, a seamstress, a bartender, or maybe you were the village, woodcutter slash head chopper, executioner. We are all things in past lives. So knowing what you were in the past isn't as important as what you're doing in the present. However, as you become more aware as you are, and you're saying you regret that you may have paid more attention in the past, it would have been helpful. It would have helped you understand why you're having difficulties. Let's say there's a certain type of person. You always meet that person, and they always are the same type of person. They're obnoxious to you, they're pushy, they belittle you, and you're wondering, what did I ever do to them? Well, it's not them, it's the pattern. And you've had difficulties with a person of the same caliber in a previous lifetime. Perhaps they were the owner of a large plantation and you were involved as a worker on that plantation, and they always belittled you. You were not worth more than the dirt. And so you're intelligent, you served them well, but you were never rewarded, you were always abused. Okay, so that essence of that type of person comes forward now so that when you meet that same type of person, you don't have to cower. You don't have to obey them. You don't have to listen to them. You can walk freely away from them without feeling obligated or regret or any fear of any kind. Now that is a scenario of patterning I'm talking about, and it may be for you who I'm talking about who asked that question because it's coming to my mind and I'm seeing these images. That might be something that's personal to you. But the idea is that you don't really need to know your past. You don't need to know that you were a knight in shining armor, or that you were in Germany somewhere, at a pub or Oktoberfest, or that you perhaps were in a prison or in a palace. What you observing yourself in your spiritual progression is to say, what's the connection with my past? And when you begin that connection, you begin to see that you're much more than you are today. These are the reflections of your soul, the facets of your soul, each facet being a different, if you will, pillar of your soul. And then you can capitalize on that. If you have an affinity with wood carving and you wonder where that came from, It came from you when you were in Italy and learning how to carve statues or wooden objects. And so it allows you to revisit your talents, if you will. So always you're moving forward, capitalizing on your talents, and then, okay, I wasn't so good at such and such. I'll make amends. I'll try to learn in this lifetime to make amends for that shortcoming in a previous lifetime. So, as you say, you'd like to know more now. Sorry, you would have liked to know more then. Well, it wasn't your time. Now is the time to do that investigation into yourself because you have time. You have an interest. You can see that there's a soul. You're on a spiritual path. You're progressing towards a greater understanding. And all that leads up to the greater understanding of the heavens above. And then you become aware of other divine beings above, not just those who have gone before us, our friends and relatives, but divine beings above. And ultimately, you begin to see that all the saints of all the world's religions are all in the same place, in the post-existence, in the higher dimensions. And then all of a sudden it starts to make sense that, hey, there's different influences, there's different systems, there's different dimensions, but everybody's going in the same direction, up. Okay? As I often say, my friends, there's many paths up the same mountain, but there's only one peak. And that's to understand no matter what somebody's spiritual beliefs are, whether they're adamant that they're right and everybody else is not so right, or whether they're casual and accommodating, all inclusionary as I am, it doesn't really matter as long as you're attempting to climb the steps up the paths and find out more of what's above, because we're all on a path in the spirit to understanding and illumination. Nobody can help you understand this, my friends. We can show you, I can tell you about it, I can tell you my experiences, you can tell me your experiences, but your understanding comes from your personal attempt to rise up and to become aware, and then self-aware, and then realized, and then fully realized, and then to be a spiritually illuminated being. That's the path we're all on. Some are running, some are walking, some are crawling, some are walking backwards, but we're all on the same path. So to this regret of wishing you had have studied things earlier, don't worry about it. Now is the time when you're supposed to. Back then, it didn't matter. It was unimportant. So what is important now? That you begin to continue to search into yourself and do some, past life regression. Because it helps you believe by really entering into a recall of a previous existence that you have a soul, that the soul lives forever, and that your soul, as then as now, will continue to be you and continue on your spiritual journey. So having recalls and reflections of your previous lifetimes is entertaining, informative, but it reassures you that you have a soul and you will live forever. And then you won't be afraid to die. Oz, next question.
Yeah, we have one from the Lone Ranger. I feel connected to the Roman military. It makes me wonder if I had a past life for that role, and if so, how can I apply it to my life today?
We're talking at the time of Rome. We're talking of somebody who's a foot soldier here. We're talking somebody that had a big steel pike and loved the battles, because with the steel pike you got to sit behind the guys with the shield, so you were kind of like a little protected. And the discipline of Rome, and to be a Roman citizen, and to be a Roman military person, a soldier, that meant a lot. The pride of being in the Roman legions was enormous, and the idea that the light in Europe was a Rome at the time that the emperors of Rome were in power. This is where you come from. You loved the life. It was disciplined, it was brutal, but it was fair. And by that I mean it was just. And you could be a self-made man. You could go as far as you wanted, build upon your own skills. So you're connected there because I think I see a gold helmet, I see a purple robe, I see a horse, I see again I saw you with a large spear or pick, but it didn't. It looks like two handles and it's kind of a pike. It's a special weapon. You might want to check out the Roman ornament and see if there is such a sword. You probably were a centurion or a something like that, close to the emperor. So I see you this lifetime, and that's why you're connected. But it was the discipline. It was the pride of accomplishment. It was being able to be proud of your country, and the people around you, the soldiers, are shoulder to shoulder. I mean, that's what soldiers fight for. Not for victory, not for freedom, but for the guy on their shoulder. They fight for each other. And so that was a sense of accomplishment, pride, achievement, and you got to see a lot of the country. I could see you travel in Germany and France and Gaul and places like that. Okay, next question. Oz, do we have another one?
Yeah, this one's on space travel. Do you want to do that now or save it for?
We want to take a break and come back with something about space travel?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a short break, everybody. You're listening to the Soul Report Live. I'm your host, Douglas James Cottrell. My co-producer is Jack Balick, and we're here to serve you, my friends. We'll be right back after this short break.
Are you ready for the future? A future filled with challenges, changes, and opportunities? Discover the New Earth by Douglas James Cottrell, PhD, a groundbreaking guide to understanding the evolution of our planet. Learn how to prepare yourself and your loved ones for the unpredictable. With insights from the Akashic Records and quantum meditation, this book offers precise predictions and practical advice. Explore how geographic areas will be affected and become a co-creator in shaping the new era of our planet. Over 370 pages of essential knowledge. Secure your ultimate guide to the future. Order the New Earth today.
Welcome back, everyone. That is a wonderful book. I'm going to give it a little shout out. It's called The New Earth. My website is douglasjamescottrell.com, and it's a remarkable was produced some time ago, and the remarkable book is that the predictions, many of them are coming true as we speak. So have a look, and as the book said, you'll get an insight into what's happening in our world as we go through this time of great change. I'm glad to hear that so many people are chiming in and asking questions. Oz, it's great to see them in. We have another question.
Yeah, this one's on space travel from This Too Shall Pass. Will humanity land on Mars by 2030?
I think so. I tell you, I'm not going to say the names, but we all know who the champions of private spacecraft and space travel are right now. There's a big race. I can see them like they're all lined up like a 100-yard dash. That's the image I have in my mind. And so by 2030, 2034, I'm going to give myself a little wiggle room because I see 34 in my mind. So we're talking in the next 8 years, maybe. Yes, we're going to. And it won't be like, it's going to be for the long term. It won't be like go there, drive around on a rover, or maybe take a little, not a helicopter ride, but geez, I can't think of it. One of those multiple devices, multiple wing devices, a drone. There we go, and be flying around like that. Here on the Earth, we're going to be going through some very dark times between now and then, and so there will be some interest in reaching out to colonize other planets, and we're going to find more discoveries of Earth-like planets beyond Mars that are attainable and not too far away. In other words, our travel time for whatever reason, is not going to be excessive, and we'll be reaching out to these other planets to colonize them. I see that in my mind. I see blue marbles out in different places that once we get to Mars, we'll be able to perceive them or get some direction on them. So the question is, yes, within the next 8 to 10 years, I think we're going to be putting those footprints on Mars for sure. I can see round huts as well, so we'll probably have definitely people, I'm not going to say colonizing, but I'm going to say residing there.
Another question from Sybil Farmer. I don't feel connected to anything from the past. What does that mean for past lives?
It means you're not connected to anything in the past, which means that somewhere in your previous experiences, you have arrived at a plateau. You're starting the cycles all over again. There's 9 cycles that you go through from 1 to 9 to give them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so as you go through these 9 segments, maybe you have one lifetime at a time, maybe you have several lifetimes per segment. When you get to a certain point, it's like a breath of fresh air. You have achieved whatever you were attempting to achieve in that development of your soul, and now you're at a starting point all over again. So feeling like you do, that means you can do anything you like. You can go anywhere you want to go. You can choose to do anything you choose to do. It's kind of like, okay, you have free will and free choice for whatever you want to do, which is wonderful, which is great. You have no tethers, nothing holding you back. However, and here's the however, don't get into trouble, because whatever you're doing now, I mean, don't go to any extremes might be a better way to put that, because as you do, this sets up a whole line for the next 9 cycles that you'll be engaged on. So try to prolong this neutrality, this equality of just moving along without disturbing anything. It's kind of what the image I have is slipping your toe into a pool of water ever so carefully so you don't cause any ripples until you can step into the pool and go all the way submerged into the water without any ripples. You'll do well. You'll be in harmony. You'll be in harmony spiritually and with the people around you and with the experiences you have. That is not easy to do. We all know we're going to, step loudly or, fall or slip or do something, and we're going to cause more than ripples. But that's the feeling or the sense I have right now. You're at a point, as we all get to, we all do this, you're at a point where you have equilibrium going. Nothing holding you back, no tethers holding you back through past life influences or encounters, but also that you haven't any desire, hopes, or dreams to force your way forward. So as long as you go gently, you can maintain this equilibrium for a millennium, if you like. So not have any connection with past lives now means at this time in your life, for perhaps 3 years, because everything's a 3 to a 3.5 year cycle, you have equilibrium. You should be at peace with everything. You should be able to choose to do something and have it happen. But again, choose wisely, because what you're choosing is a new path, a new direction. Now, it's not to be scary. I'm not trying to frighten you or anything like that. It's just to say, you can choose to be wise. You want to be a wise person like Socrates or some other person, Marcus Aurelius or some things like that. Well, then you meet challenges in life. You meet people that are going to be difficult to deal with in order for you to learn wisdom. So be careful and just enjoy yourself immensely. Try to be in the spirit of balance and peace. Remember, the most important thing you can do, you and everyone listening, is to have peace on everything you do. Every day, every moment, if you can live your life in peace, then you're living it properly and you're in harmony and you will have love, and love will bring success, and success will bring fortune or wealth. Justice will abound, and you'll be in balance or harmony. This is the goal in every moment of every day. If you can keep your peace, no matter what, you have achieved a great accomplishment, and you are demonstrating your spiritual advancement. A rule of thumb to keep in front of you, my friends: don't let people steal your peace by saying something to you. Don't let them give you the gift of insult, or the gift of betrayal, or the gift of difficulty or anger. Reject it. If somebody comes to you with a gift, you don't necessarily have to take it. So why would you take the gift of anger, or a barb of insult, or somebody cutting you off in traffic? It's like, let them go. Keep your peace. It's most important. This next question.
Yes, just want to make a note to everybody that's watching online, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Leave your questions in the chat and we'll try to get to them. There's a lot of questions online about, it's good to make a mistake because you learn from it. And then there's other questions saying, well, it's bad to make a mistake. I should make no mistakes. And then that way just have a good life, easy life, and I don't have to worry.
Okay.
Any thoughts?
Mission impossible. If you think you're not going to make a mistake, you're a fool. Okay? Foolish might be a better term. Attempting not to make mistakes means to be considerate, to be thoughtful, to be patient, and to know when is the time to move or when the time to stay. How did you get to that point of wisdom? Did you just wake up from being a baby one day and all of a sudden you knew all about those wonderful things I just said? Mission impossible. You made mistakes. And mistakes, as I said earlier, are stepping stones to success. Everyone makes mistakes. Why? Because you don't know. If you knew something and it was wrong or a difficulty or some problem, you wouldn't do it. Okay, that's wisdom. That's correct. That's how you maintain your peace. But if you didn't know about it and you made it, you went ahead and did it, and then you found out, oh, that hurt. I'm not going to do that again. Well, the next time it comes up, you avoid it. You don't do it, more than likely. But there are some people, aren't there? As I might say to everyone, there are people that like to make the same mistake over and over and over again, and they expect a different outcome. That's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over again and expecting a different result. So the first thing is to realize, yes, you want a peaceful life. Be very considerate and very thoughtful. Think things through based on all the knowledge you have, plus gain knowledge from other people that have made those mistakes. Read books, get information online, whatever. Then you can calculate what is going to be a positive outcome. And you can avoid pitfalls or mistakes. Otherwise, you're just going to walk into something you have no knowledge about, and something is not going to go right. Okay. Don't beat up on yourself. Don't belittle yourself. Don't feel guilty. Say, okay, I'm a human being. I got it. You can talk to yourself. This is a good instance to say, okay, hi self. Well, we sure messed up on that one. We're not going to do that again. And if you manage to do that, where you make a mistake and you never make the same mistake twice, you will be a wise and happy person. So saying you don't want to make mistakes, that's foolish. You will. Absolutely guaranteed. Saying you're not going to make the same mistake over again, that's a good attempt. You might. Different disguise, different circumstances, different people, you might make the same mistake. But it'll be mitigated. It won't be to the same extent, catch yourself say, whoa, hold on, I'm going down this path the wrong way again. So I'm going to bow out. See, part of the problem is saying no to people. Part of the problem is being truthful to yourself. And part of the problem is admitting that when you're wrong, that you're wrong and to do something about it. Don't blame everybody else, because when you blame somebody, you're attempting to avoid blame to yourself, even though you're the cause or in the situation or the person who's in the activity or the circumstance in which something is going wrong. And then when you do make a mistake, be happy. You say, oh, what? They got me again. I can guarantee you in life, 25% of the time, you're going to get the short end of the stick. Absolutely. 50% of the time, you'll get taken. You'll be taken advantage of. You'll be somewhat misdirected. So for 50% of the time, you will be right. And of the other 50% of the time, you have to be very careful that you're not being deceived. And for that last 25% of the time, you got to be like, darn, got me again. Not going to make that mistake. And sooner or later, as you progress in your life and you get older, you will remember all the gotchas until the point that they won't get you much. You'll be down to maybe 1% of the time, and you'll have a very fruitful and long life. That's called wisdom. Wisdom by aging, wisdom by maturity, wisdom by experience. Knowledge plus experience equals wisdom. You can't have wisdom without one or both of these, knowledge and experience. You have to gain the knowledge, you have to apply it, and then you have the wisdom and you know better. So the question is, you're going to make mistakes. Okay. To be able to mitigate it or to correct it or to stop the mistake in mid-course, that takes a lot of self-recognition and self-will or willpower. So don't make mistakes. All right. But don't be afraid to make mistakes is even better. And when you do make a mistake, dust yourself off, congratulate yourself for surviving, and then compliment yourself for realizing it was a mistake. And then reassure yourself, more than likely, you're not going to do this again. Make sense, my friends? That's another question.
I think we're done with the questions for right now. Maybe we'll take a break.
Okay, let's take another commercial break. We'll be right back. I'm glad to be with you, my friends. I want to tell you how happy I am here to be with you tonight. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after a short break.
Are you searching for clarity, wisdom, and a deeper understanding of the spiritual world around you? Meet Douglas James Cottrell, PhD, a visionary author and teacher who's helped countless people transform their lives. His books are a gateway to profound insights, offering guidance, inspiration, and the tools you need to unlock your full potential. From unlocking your intuition to discovering spiritual truths, Douglas's books are your trusted companions on the path to personal growth. Don't wait. Start your journey today. Visit his website douglasjamescottrell.com to explore and purchase his life-changing work. Your next breakthrough is just a page away.
Welcome back to the show, my friends. In this segment, we're going to talk a little bit about the spirituality of what's going on with this 3-eye atlas, what this might mean for us. I'm taking I'm thinking it's a much larger story, one where the soul is not bound by earth alone. The fact that this item, this entity came from a star system far away invites the question, what energies have we inherited? What wisdom lies beyond our borders? Just as in the relationship with visitors from our past, souls revisiting us from time to time, We also face visitors from the cosmos. Their mission, expansion. They're expanding their consciousness, their presence in the cosmos, the universe. I've had visions where we'll be visited by some beings through a stargate. I'm not a, a proponent or an advocate for stargates and activities like that, but I've seen one in a vision. I've also seen the world that we live in greatly changed in the next 40 to 50 years. Is it a result of visitors or off-world beings joining us or changing the world we're in? Or is it us? You know, we're going to be exploring more in this show about artificial intelligence. I have AI chat and I love it. I think it's wonderful. It helps me find things out, helps me write better and find details that I might otherwise have forgotten. And it goes beyond. I'm an old man. I mean, people half my age, well, it's just every day. From artificial intelligence comes artificial life. I once had a vision in the future that we're going to have a little difficulty distinguishing between counterfeit people and real people. That's where we're headed today. So as we look into the sky, remember there's a visitor passing by. Let's be courteous. Let's be cautious. But remember, maybe we should feel more connected to the universe, to the sky, to the stars. Why? Because we always have been. All of our ancestors have looked to the sky, to Palladius, to Orion's belt, to different solar systems. We have given names to all the planets and the constellations. We've reached out with humble telescopes trying to understand how many planets were in our solar system. Remember, not too long ago, it was said that the Earth was the center of the universe. Sorry, you flat Earth believers. The Earth is round and it's part of our solar system, and it's part of who we are as Earthlings on this planet. But we should pay attention to the big time that's coming, the big shift. Be prepared, because Voyager is still on its way out there. That's that vehicle that we sent out years ago. I was able to watch it on the news as it was being launched, and it still continues to go beyond the known edge of our, I'm going to say, universe, and it continues to report back. It continues to send messages. Isn't that amazing? So as we move forward, as we look through the world in a physical sense, you know, here we are, you and me, but there's a spiritual sense. The soul can travel from galaxy to galaxy, from dimension to dimension. And so it makes sense that we should be aware of those things above and beyond. Now, I'm not going to make any dire predictions about invasions or that the world's going to end at some time in the future. The sun's going to go nova, and which is, I think Nostradamus has predicted that. That's way, 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 way beyond my time. So as we look forward, remember, look up and see what we can see, but pay attention to what's going on here. The Earth itself is not supposed to be at war. It's not supposed to be racked with conflict. Out of this time of chaos, which was predicted by the late, great Edgar Cayce, and also by my mentor, Ross Peterson, that there was this time of chaos that's coming. Here we are. Now, half the time we're afraid that we're going to be struck by a comet or a meteor or some other random, I'm just going to call it rock, that's coming towards us at super speeds. Remember, it accelerates and it keeps on accelerating. Newton's law. If there's no resistance, the thing in motion tends to stay in motion. So, and we do have craters here in the world which have shown us that the Earth is vulnerable to 2 meteorites striking the world, and at, you know, gigantic catastrophes have happened. But I don't mean to bore you. We all know that. The thing is, what are we going to do about it now? Well, be prepared, like the Boy Scouts, their motto. And be prepared means look away, look above, see what's in the sky, but also what's in your neighborhood. what's going on with you. So in this segment of the show, I'm talking a little bit about, this phenomenon about I3 Atlas or 3I Atlas, if I get dyslexia going here. And also it's a wake-up call, isn't it? I mean, all of a sudden something's appeared in the sky, in the space, and the people who have discovered it are saying it's acting strangely. It's causing radiation to go. It's in different places. I heard a story, or it was reported here, that it has omitted some sort of like a transponder, some message or energy that was reciprocated or was returned from the moon. Is that true? Is it sending out signals looking for ancient technology or ancient worlds that perhaps have been destroyed here on our world or on our moon? Well, apparently the story sounds legitimate, and there has been people who have science reputation to say this 3I Atlas has sent out a signal that was responded from something on the dark side of the moon. Okay, oh my God, here we go. Well, where are we today? We're here. I'm not sure what the trajectory of the 3I Atlas is. It's not going to hit us. It's going to pass by us in the neighborhood of our solar system, but it's going to pass us by. But what follows it? That's the question. I'm going to leave that with you until next time. As we go here to the latter part of the show, my friends, we try to put something together for you that's entertaining, but also educational. And so my closing monologue tonight is about friendship as a divine gift. Here we are at this time in our journey, from souls across lifetimes to comets that cross galaxies, to the simple gift of friendship. It's very important that you develop friends and have friendship. I'm talking at least one sincere friend in your life. If you do this, you will have gold in your life, because friends are the ones that stick by you. I'm not talking about acquaintances. I'm not talking about people who are friendly. I am not talking about friends at work, because usually friends at work are not sincere friends. They're in the category of acquaintances or casual friendships, if you will. But having that friendship that is sincere, the one that, when you say to everybody, hey, I'm moving on Saturday, can you all come over and help? Everybody says, absolutely. And then only one person shows up. That is a sincere friend, or at least it's an indication of this person as a friend that is sincere. And that's usually their friendships are discovered in times of need. Real friends don't run away. And so when you're in trouble and somebody sticks by you, whether they agree with you or not, that's somebody you should cherish and don't pass them by. And the people who don't stay with you, the people who run away, those are the people who are weak, but they're not your sincere friends. So developing an understanding of what friendship is like. Remember, friendship is not a luxury, but it is a spiritual necessity. In scriptures, Yeshua the Christ was more than a teacher. He was a friend. He called his disciples and those who followed them and said, you are my friends. If you do what I command you, he said, this was in John 15, our divine example is one who walks with us, talks with us, weeps with us. Our friends do the same. So the divine being who walks with you may be a divine being incarnate in a friend. But the point is, the one who stays with you even through difficulties, the one who talks to you when nobody else will, the one that comes up and tells you that rumors are going on about you at work or at church or at some other place when no one else will, that is a true friend. They're willing to risk your anger or your denial or whatever, because they're willing to tell you the truth, take care of them. They are your real friend. In times of division, fear, and chaos, a genuine friend is a rare gem. They stand with you when the world walks away. They remind you of hope when you forget. They are your witness to your soul. So consider this, my friend, as a spiritual progression. To be a true friend is to carry justice, love, and life. It is to bear the light of your companion's soul as if it were your own. So to be a friend, you too must be a true friend, carry justice and love and life for those of your friends who are going through difficult times. So let me leave you with this. Choose your friends wisely. Understand the difference between a friend and an acquaintance. Understand the difference between a pretend friend or a hypocrite and your real friends. They will show you. They will show you. But don't continue making excuses for them. When they're always right and you're always wrong, or when you're always buying lunch and they never do, or everything is for them, they call you up and complain about their lives, and they take advantage of your time, dumping on you, if you will, their problems. These are not the activities of a friend. Yes, friends go through difficulties, and it's time to listen to them. Yes, friends are in need of some instruction or advice that you might offer. That's different than somebody that is taking advantage of you, as a narcissist might. Be a friend, and be the friend who you want to be your friend. If the roles were reversed, what would you do? And see this in the people around you, and you'll know that you're on the path of having a good friend. So recognize every friend as a gift from the divine, not just someone you enjoy, but someone you grow with. Friendships last a long time. As you get older, you remember people have been your friend for 20 or 30 years. You might have lost touch with them, but when you reunite and you communicate with them, the friendship continues right where it left off. When you tell your friend that you're their friend and you thank them for being a friend, you honor them. You honor the one who placed them in your life as well, the divine. Remember, spiritual divine beings are friends with those to whom they lead or whom they associate with or to whom they follow. And so, as they are friends to the people that they are helping or to the people that are in need, God above is a friend to you. To have a friendly God above, to be a friend with God, is the purpose. It is what you're attempting to understand. So if I'm making sense tonight, all around us, souls are connecting for a purpose, some to teach, some to heal, and some to walk in silence, some to be present, and some to be faithful, and some will be loyal. Have discernment and know who your friends are. Test them a little bit. And if they don't behave properly, maybe they're not quite as good a friend as you thought. It's okay to have acquaintances. It's okay to have people who are fair weather friends. It's okay to have people who are entertaining, but it's the sincere friend and to whom you want to be a sincere friend that is the gift of gold. So if you like, you can make a comment here in the chat as we get towards the end of the show. We'd like to know what you thought of this broadcast, and let this message ripple out. To be a sincere friend takes a lot of work, but it is the most important. As I said earlier in the broadcast, to have peace in every moment of every day, that takes a lot of work and effort and practice to achieve. But once you achieve this peace every moment of every day, you have advanced yourself spiritually to a great height. more than you would know. To have a friend in your life that you can count on, someone you can go to who will listen to you even though they disagree with you, who will forgive you even though you've done something silly, who will love you and miss you and mourn you. This is the friend you seek. Until next time, I want you to do the best you can at being my friend and being a friend to everyone else that you find is sincere in your life. Next week, we have some exciting authors coming with us. We're going to play another commercial here where our producer has his book up for sale, and I have mine. I have another one here I'm going to show you tonight. It's called Conversations with the Akashic. My website is douglasjamescottrell.com, and I'm going to ask Oz to put up his favorite book as we go to the close of the show. But I want to always thank you, my friends, for being our friend to this show. Please remember to subscribe and to spread the word as we move forward on this, the Soul Report Live. Oz, do we have another promotion of some amazing books that we have for sale for our wonderful audience?
Have you ever wondered what secrets humanity has lost to time? What ancient knowledge has vanished or been forgotten? In Lost in Time, Our Forgotten and Vanishing Knowledge, Jack R. Bialik takes you on a journey through the mysteries of our past, exploring forgotten civilizations, lost technologies, and the wisdom that shaped our world. Rediscover the knowledge that could change how we see the future. Lost in Time is more than a book, it's a portal to the past. Get your copy of Lost in Time, Our Forgotten and Vanishing Knowledge today. Available now wherever books are sold.
Again, it's a pleasure to have you with us tonight, my friends. Please subscribe to our channel. We're on YouTube. We also have the Wake Up and we have the Global Village interviews. We also have Marketplace coming, in which if you care to advertise your books or your particular group or function, that we can help you carry your message out to the world, drop us a line at thesoulreportlive@gmail.com. Listen, I'm your friend. I thank you for being my friend. The show is co-produced with Jack Bialik and myself, and we look forward to seeing you right here next week. May God bless you and keep you. Until next time, peace and prosperity.